Hello students, in plant kingdom we are on division Pteridophyta and we had completed with the general characteristics and life cycle of Dryopteris, which belongs to class Pteropsida, and today we are going to do yet another example of a fern which is a lower fern, that is Selaginella, which belongs to the class Lycopsida. Division Pteridophyta, we are doing Selaginella, which belongs to class Lycopsida. Lycopsida, which are also called as the club mosses. Selaginella is a lower fern. Selaginella is heterosporous. That means it produces two types of spores, microspores and megaspore. This is unlike Dryopteris, which is a higher fern, but it produces only one type of spore. Dryopteris is homosporous, Selaginella is heterosporous. It has microphyls. Micro means small, phyl means leaf. Small leaves with ligule. Ligule is a leaf-like structure at the base, a feature of Selaginella. Main plant body is sporophyte, which will be 2N. Why we are specifically interested in studying Selaginella, which is a lower fern, is because it has certain features which make it very similar to the higher plants. What are those features that are there in Selaginella? We are going to see now. Have you heard of Sanjeevani booty? Hanumanji had come all the way from Sri Lanka to Himalayas to fetch the Sanjeevani booty, which is nothing but Selaginella bryopteris, okay, a species of Selaginella. We will be looking at it in economic importance. We are looking at the sporophyte of Selaginella. This is the diagram that is there in NCERT. The horizontally growing plant body. Its branches are dividing dichotomously. Dichotomously means each end is dividing into two. Then each of that will further divide into two. That is called dichotomous branching. These are the leaves. Leaves, like I told you, they are microphyls and they are ligulate. It will secrete certain substances which will protect the leaves when they are young. A root-like structure will be seen, which is called as a rhizophore, a feature of Selaginella. Rhizophore arises from the stem and it appears to be adventitious. It's quite an interesting structure because the origin of rhizophore is not very known. Scientists are still undecided whether the origin is a root or it's a stem. It touches the ground and it will spread out into roots. Rhizophore. These are the leaves. Compare these leaves to the leaves of Dryopteris. The leaves of Dryopteris were megaphils. All the leaves of Dryopteris were sporophils. They had onto them sori, which are clusters of sporangia, which could produce spores. Unlike the Dryopteris, sori are not located behind all these leaves. Okay, these are just photosynthetic leaves, microphylls. Some of these leaves are located at the tips of these branches and they are aggregated into such kind of clusters. Can you see these clusters? Okay, they are aggregated into clusters like this. These clusters are called as strobili. Strobili are also called as cones. Strobili can be defined as an aggregate of sporophylls only. All the leaves of the sporophyte are not going to be sporophylls, unlike the Dryopteris. Only certain leaves which will be clustered into such kind of strobili. These are the same sporophylls that become flowers in angiosperms. Right now we are in division Pteridophyta. Sporophylls are aggregated into strobili, also called cones. Okay, what I have shown you over here is the strobilus. These are the sporophylls. And at the base of these sporophylls, you see certain bag-like structures which are called as the sporangia. Sporangium, the bag containing the spore mother cells. And like I told you before, Selaginella is heterosporous. They will not produce one type of spores. They will produce two different types of spores, microspores and megaspores. Microspores are produced in the sporangia, which are located on top of the strobilus. Let's make some microspores here. And at the bottom, let's say over here, there will be megaspores produced. Megaspores, not many megaspores are produced, only one megaspore is produced per sporangium. Okay, what is going to happen now? Microspores and megaspores are produced. Not one type of spores as in the Dryopteris. It produced homospores and it had thrown them onto the ground. It had dispersed them into air to Dryopteris, and the spores had landed onto the ground and produced prothelli, which were monoecious. Right now we are in Selaginella. Two types of spores are being produced, microspores and megaspores. The arrangement of this strobili is in such a manner that these spores are not liberated onto the ground. They are retained within the strobilus. The strobilus will retain the spores that are being produced. And there is going to be an endosporic development of the prothelli. What is meant by endosporic development of the prothelli? The spores are going to be retained and will germinate in vivo into prothelli. Inside the spore body wall itself. Inside the spore wall itself, the development of the male thalli and the female thalli will take place. while it is being retained inside the sporophyte. It has not even liberated them into the air. So what do we write is that there is an in vivo endosporic development of male gametophyte and female gametophyte inside microspore and megaspore respectively. So as a result, what is going to happen? Male gametophytes will form over here and female gametophytes will form. The male gametophyte will produce the male gametes which will be flagellated. Male gametophyte will produce male gametes which will be flagellated. How are they flagellated? Multiflagellated and spiral shaped. And female gametophyte will produce the egg cell. Water is required. Water is required, isn't it? They are amphibians. Water is required for fertilization process. Because of the water, the male gametes are able to travel all the way down over here and bring about fertilization. What are the male gametes called? Antherozoids. Antherozoids will swim in water and enter archegonia and then fertilize egg cell, and then there will be formation of zygote. This zygote will then grow into a new sporophyte. It will grow into a new sporophyte, then falls off on soil due to its size and weight. Now, if you closely observe these events, what you will find is that because of the heterospory, the size of the thalli of male and female gametophytes have been very much reduced. The Dryopteris produces spores in the sori and it liberates them. The spores then fall on the ground and the gametophyte then matures on the soil surface and the young sporophyte then grows in the soil. Now tell me, is this young sporophyte safe? Is this gametophyte and new sporophyte safe over there in the open, out there? No, they are not safe. It is very easy for the new sporophyte to be degenerated or eaten by herbivores, etc. Isn't it? It's not safe out there. It is not protected over there. So what is happening over here in Selaginella is that it is forming not one type of spores, but it is forming two different types of spores. That means it does not have to produce one thallus. It can produce two separate thalli and can make them smaller in size compared to the prothallus in the Dryopteris. It is not producing many female thalli, it is producing just one female thallus inside one sporangium. Because of which, what is happening, it is able to retain that spore in the sporangium because there is only one. Gametophyte is able to grow while being retained inside the sporophyte. It is growing over there only and it is producing a gamete. The new sporophyte is also being produced while the gametophyte is still onto the parent sporophyte, isn't it? The parent sporophyte holds the female gametophyte and the female gametophyte is holding the new sporophyte as well for a considerable duration of time until it can no longer bear the weight and it falls off. Isn't this habit similar to seed habit? In angiosperms also the same thing is happening. Tree is the sporophyte. The sporophyte produces spores, megaspores and microspores. It produces two types of spores and the megaspore inside the flower produces the female gamete. The female gamete is then fertilized and the new embryo, the new sporophyte is then retained inside the parent spore. The parent sporophyte will form the seed around it, seed covering around it, enclosing the gametophyte and the new sporophyte inside the seed. So over here what is happening is this is like a precursor to that particular habit of seed formation. Okay, what Dryopteris does, it just throws the spores onto the ground. That is not similar to the seed habit. Selaginella is the one that produces two types of spores and shows a behavior which is very similar to the seed habit. The sporophyte retaining the gametophytes and the new sporophytes onto itself for a considerable duration of time until they fall off. Therefore, heterosporic and endosporic development of gametophytes, they are precursors of the seed habit, specifically heterosporic. So Selaginella is an important example from NCERT for this particular point for its heterosporic nature, which is the precursor to seed habit. So we can say that essentially in Selaginella there is heterosporic, there is gametophyte which is nutritionally dependent on sporophyte. There is an endosporic development of gametophyte. Gametophytes are reduced, they are unisexual, and there is localization of sporangia in strobili, a character which makes it very different from Dryopteris. If we compare Dryopteris and Selaginella side by side, what are the points that you can give me? Dryopteris is homosporous, Selaginella is heterosporous. Dryopteris has megaphylls or macrophylls as they are called. Selaginella has microphylls. Gametophyte is independent. What about this? Selaginella, gametophyte is dependent. Dependent on who? Dependent on sporophyte. Moving towards the higher plants. There is exosporic development. Exo means what? Outside. Outside spore development into prothallus. Development of spore into prothallus. What about here? There is endosporic development. Isn't there an endosporic development? A feature which is similar to higher plants. Endosporic development of micropores and megaspore. So these are the differences between Dryopteris and Selaginella. Two more Ames related points I would like to tell you. Protostele. Out of protostele it has this type called as actinostele. Actinostele is a specific type of arrangement of xylem and phloem, okay, which is in the form of a star-shaped structure in this manner. Towards the center, xylem and phloem outside is arranged in the form of such kind of star-shaped structure. This is called as protostele. Are actually three different types, okay, out of which it shows the actinostele type of arrangement. It has the presence of trabeculae. What is meant by stele? Stele means the xylem plus phloem cylinder in the center. Okay, it's called as the stele. What is trabeculae, you know? Suppose this region is their cortex and this region is their endodermis. Okay, such kind of extensions of endodermis you will find within the cortex. These are called as trabeculae. Trabeculae facilitate better conduction of water and nutrients. They are called as resurrection plants. Resurrection plants because they have this ability to dry out into a ball, okay, in dry conditions and then revive completely upon watering. Okay, this is a xerophytic adaptation. Xerophytic meaning zero means no water. An example is Selaginella lepidophylla. So these are your Ames related points. So with that we complete Selaginella. Now we will do the economic importance of pteridophytes. They help in soil binding and prevention of soil erosion, especially when they grow on the hills. Dryopteris is a source of anti-helminthic drug. Helminth means what? Worms, parasites. This particular drug produced from Dryopteris is anti-helminthic. Ferns are popularly grown as ornamental plants. I told you about my mother's garden which has Dryopteris growing in all glory, okay, used for ornamentation. There is one Marsilia which is an aquatic fern and it is used as food. Then there is Equisetum, a horsetail. Its stem is used for scouring. Scouring means washing utensils or scrubbing utensils, okay, because it is embedded with silica, so it is used for scrubbing utensils, polishing, etc. For scouring plus polishing metals. So with that we complete with division Pteridophyta.
महादेव के नाम पे सब्सक्राइब कर दें।